And welcome back, Taurus. Oh, dang, look at that. That did not take long. So, foundational reading for Taurus is the Empress. Very curious. Pisces energy, a regenerative energy at the end of the day. This is a self-love's kind of the cliche way to say it. A good sign that you're going to be able to prioritize your own well-being, your own regenerance, your own ability to effectuate your own health, spiritually or physically. So let's clarify further. First, holy cow. Okay, I'm not going to take all of these. Let us get a clarifier for Taurus, please. First Taurus Empress clarifier. First clarifier for the Empress is Seven of Wands reversed. Make sure that despite the fact you are prioritizing your own energy, that you're not doing it in a ridiculous fashion. You will run into... It'll be very hard to defend your position. It's going to be very difficult to rationalize the sacrifices you're making, even if you regenerate yourself. The quality in which you take to that, there's some potential here for it to not be very justified, to not be very reasonable. So, let's get some clarifiers for the Seven of Wands in reverse. First clarifier for Taurus, Seven of Wands in reverse. Nine of Cups. Dang. Almost seems like you're still going to be able to meet your own priorities, even if you draw the ire of others. Very curious. Kind of a very I hate to use the word selfish, but selfish energy here. Selfish energy that serves you. Very curious. Man, just try to not be super smug about it. Try not to step on other people's toes over the matter. And if you can do that, you are going to be able to embrace this regeneration much, much better. Secondary clarifier for Taurus, Seven of Wands. We've got the... Nine of Swords reversed. 9-9. Once again, man, this is very curious. So even though your personal energy here is aligned immaculate, it's immaculate energy for you, Empress and Nine of Cups, that's energetically speaking very powerful. However, and by the way, there's also feminine energy. So your feminine energy, very powerful. You're missing for some reason in your masculine energy. You are maybe stepping on too many people's toes. I would hate for it to be like some kind of, what's the term I'm looking for? Not glee, but sort of bloviating. Man, let's see. Let's get another clarifier here. Final clarifier for Taurus. Seven of Wands in the reverse, please. Third clarifier. Dang, Hierophant reverse. Taurus energy in reverse. Wow. Very curious. We are also coming to close to the end of Pisces season, so your Pisces energy is very strong here. So right now, you might be able to pull off this regenerative energy, but man, you are getting a warning here. Even if yourself is succeeding in regeneration, even if yourself is finding your own energy to be very good, there is a ton of warning here as to the quality to which you take that with. So, man, try not to be a braggart. Try not to rub it in people's faces. Too bad. It's too bad to see the Hierophant in reverse, Taurus, because that's Taurus energy. In the reverse, though, leaning out of universal principle some way. Too bad. What is the secondary clarifier for the Empress here for Taurus? Let's grab a secondary clarifier for Taurus's the Empress. Secondary clarifier, wow. Eight of Cups reverse. Another sign of I almost want to say a lack of humility. A lack of humility in how good you're feeling. Like, it's almost like your high vibrance alone despite how well it is serving you, and despite how well you feel about it, is having a ton of external issues. So much so that it's even blinding you to a better course. Instead of seeing something greater for you, you are kind of stuck in a way, which is sort of a very typical thing Taurus can wind up in. So I don't know, maybe you have some Pisces in your chart. Taurus does. Well, no, it doesn't cusp with Cancer, it cusps with Gemini. So, dang, Taurus. So this is a very curious set of energy here. For some reason, your own selfishness that serves you is also creating a lot of external issues, which leads me to believe that perhaps in the long term, there may be some concerns. So let us continue here. Definitely, man, I know that feelings matter a lot. And as Taurus is Earth sign, feminine energy sign, and Empress is very feminine energy, a call to kind of straighten out some of the more masculine qualities here. So, dang, that's a tricky ask, Taurus. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's kind of weird how the universe would expect such a thing. Like, it tells you with your feelings to lean into that stuff for your own well-being, but then there's all of these ulterior issues from it, sort of. Very strange. Let's see. Clarifier for Eight of Cups reversed for Taurus. First clarifier, ooh, the Tower. Wow. Aries energy. You may be close, and so we go from Aries, so we've got Taurus and Aries energy. You may be a cusp. You may be an Aries-Taurus cusp. Dang. This is really strange, Taurus. The universe armed you with the ability to feel your way into your own well-being, but then is simultaneously providing a lot of issues for leaning into that very quality. So much so that there's going to be some sort of consequence. And it's in the upright, so it's a consequence that is going to help kind of break up this sort of monotony here, which sometimes Taurus can get a little stubborn. And I hate to say it like that because, you know, it's kind of cliche, but in my other Taurus readings, sometimes Taurus can get very tunnel vision. And sometimes that takes a tower to break through. So, very powerful Tower card there. Let us see, what is the secondary clarifier here? And the Tower will help you move on to bust out of this energy, but what is the price to pay? Do you have to actually pay the price of your feelings to some degree? That's very curious. Let's see. Secondary clarifier for Eight of Cups reversed. Queen of Swords, wow. Very similar to what I was saying. You were leaning very heavily into your emotional energy here. Empress, Nine of Cups. And what I said was using a little bit more of your mind, so to speak, your masculine energy, your mentalism, to sort of rationalize the downstream effects of acting like this. And that's exactly what the Queen of Swords would help you with. Of course, Queen of Swords, Gemini energy. So you've got a Taurus reading with the Aries cusp and the Gemini cusp. It's a call to, man, it's so weird. It's so weird that you are so good at prioritizing these regenerative emotions. But it's almost as if maybe you have over-prioritized that. Even though it serves you so well. Even though it contents you so well. There are ulterior factors here that you may not be paying attention to. And one of the ways to kind of deal with that is you've kind of got to wrestle with your feelings a little bit. And you've got to rationalize the downstream effects of how you're acting. And mostly what I'm seeing is it's kind of like a smug energy. A little bit of a smug energy, not serving you exactly. Curious. Very curious. Final clarifier for Taurus. Final clarifier for the Taurus. Eight of Cups in reverse. Final clarifier. Seven of Cups. Interesting. So a good sign. It's a good sign that you're listening. A very good sign. because you've moved on from these sort of negative energies. Excuse me. You're moving on from... It's actually kind of a good sign you're opening up to what I'm saying, because you're starting to see a different set of variety. And you're exploring within that variety, and it's in a healthy fashion. But a huge piece of that is you gotta kind of get taken down a peg, and maybe you can use this reading to kind of open up to what that is. Hopefully something else doesn't do that for you, because that's never very pleasant. And it's typically not super severe. Still, if you can kind of find this rationality, there are better options for you down the line here. Even though that might be through rationality more than the admittedly powerful emotions that you're used to. So, not a bad sign, not a bad sign. Water is a good sign for cultivating some earth. Alright. Let's see. Final clarifier for Taurus the Empress here. What is Taurus' final clarifier? And I probably already mentioned this, but as of this reading, we're about to end the Pisces season. So, very interesting how that's coming out for that. Alright. Final clarifier for Taurus the Empress is, boom, the two of wands. Another sign that you are opening up to what I've been saying. Another sign that you are using your foresight, which is, once again, more of a masculine energy fire as masculine. I mean, it's not a bad sign. It's always cool to see that, like, midway through the reading when it looks like you're opening up to what I'm saying. And so it's cool. A little bit of outlook as to what you've succeeded with and the ways you've succeeded with them, but perhaps, realizing that, yeah, you could grow even further. Even though your emotions are stable and you've got that on lockdown. Huh. Dang. Alright, let's see. Clarifier for Taurus. Two of Wands. First clarifier for Taurus, Two of Wands, supporting energy. Ooh, look at that. Seven of Wands reversed again. Dang. So what the heck? Like... Okay, so now I'm kind of annoyed. First, they're annoyed at you for embracing your own energy, prioritizing yourself. Then when you open up to do something different, they still come back with the same energy. So, what can you expect at that point? That almost makes you want to regress back into these emotional energies. You have the Hierophant in reverse, though, which is a sign from higher power, so to speak. Sort of objective truth, objective reality. So the opening up is what objective reality is sort of asking you to do. You've got to weather people being annoyed at you one way or the other to grow through this. So, man. Darned if you do, darned if you don't, to a certain extent. So don't let that hold you down on what you're trying to grow through here. Second clarifier for Taurus. Two of Wands, supporting energy. Wow, Page of Wands reversed. Kind of bully energy, toxic energy. Dealing with a lot of toxic energy. Disappointing. Very disappointing. Why go through this tower if you're just gonna be running into all of this anyway? Why put down your own well-being and vibrance if you're just gonna get griped one way or the other? That's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Alright, let's get the final clarifier here. Final clarifier for Taurus, Two of Wands, supporting energy is, dang, Queen of Cups reversed. Toxic. Just freaking toxic. Man. So, shucks. Shucks, Taurus. Talk about insecurity. Empress upright, that is water. Knight of Cups upright, that's water. Seven of Cups, water. But you've got these mixed and reversed waters. Eight of Cups reversed, and then Queen of Cups reversed. As you kind of go into this growth, do your best to not become toxic at other people who can't seem to figure you out. People who relied on you being a certain way, and then when you change, they can't take it. You've got to make sure that you don't let that get you down. So, all right, Taurus. Very curious. Very freaking curious reading. I'd love to see this Empress. I'd love to see this Nine of Cups. I hate to see your card in reverse. You seem to be opening up to the idea, though. You seem to be learning your lesson, which Tauruses are great at that in my readings. I always seem to get that. Sometimes when Taurus is on the bumpy path, a little bit of a wake-up call, and they get it. I don't know why you've got this downstream toxicity from other people, man. I very disappointing. Very disappointing. Don't let it get you down. Stick to your energy. Know what you are looking for here. Know what you're growing into. What you're moving beyond from. The variety that you're seeking. Keep your faith going forward, Taurus. Alright. Hey, thanks for being here.